TrigID. It is the first universal digital identity system able to solve real-world identity problems. TrigID is a revolutionary new cryptographic technology that preserves your anonymity and privacy, but allows anyone to test the attributes that define your identity. This identity is self-sovereign, which means you have control over those attributes. It integrates seamlessly and immediately with all existing analog identification schemes of government and other authorities. It integrates seamlessly and immediately with all existing analog identification schemes of government and other authorities. With TrigID, you can prove you're you, and prove key truths about you, without the need for ID cards, phone-based certificates, or any other identifier that can be stolen or misappropriated. All these can be done without giving away anything about yourself. Prove you're you, privately. Prove you're you, and prove key truths about you, without the need for ID cards, phone-based certificates, or any other identifier that can be stolen or misappropriated. And do all this without giving away anything about yourself. Revolutionary new technology. TrigID is a revolutionary new cryptographic technology that preserves your anonymity and privacy, but allows anyone to test the attributes that define your identity. This identity is self-sovereign, which means you have control over those attributes. Works with existing identifiers. TrigID integrates seamlessly and immediately with all existing analog identification schemes of government and other authorities. Real-world problems like finding your medical record when you're lying on an emergency room operating table. Like knowing that the person you're sending your money to is who they say they are, and they really do own that car. Knowing that the person you're getting advice from over the internet really is a genetic counselor. Or that your election vote actually came from you. TrigID is the first and only internet-based way to show that a real-world human is who they say they are. It enforces one person, one identity, and you can verify that real-world identity with real-world identifiers like driver's license numbers, SSNs, addresses, phone numbers, all without giving anyone those identifiers. TrigID is a revolutionary, patent-pending zero-knowledge validator of identity information inspired by geometric triangulation, and its entire structure is baked into public blockchain so it can't be hacked or faked. TrigID uses a novel scheme, inspired by geometric triangulation. It takes common identifiers, encrypts them, then reduces their information content to 20 or fewer bits. This mashing algorithm makes what we call identity vectors that are really just arcs in a giant identity graph. These arcs are no use by themselves. That's why they can encode it into a public blockchain. One 20-bit mash, for example, can represent more than 2,000 possible tokens from identifiers of any type. That's from the US alone, and it's before third parties start adding things like medical record IDs, tax file numbers. ID tokens are a first-class TrigID crypto infrastructure component. Each token can carry a set of arcs, or edges, lines that connects facts in the global TrigID blockchain database. Think of these as the transactions in the database transaction log. When you transfer them, the ID transaction becomes part of the TrigID database. When someone wants to use the data, they parse the blockchain and assemble the TrigID wrap the same way that a conventional database is assembled from a transaction log backup. Please join our social media. Thank you.